provided by Thomas Allgeier and Francis, based on the most relevant LinkedIn posts about commercial fleets in calendar weeks 32 and 33. Francis is a B2B market research company that supports automotive suppliers with building feature-by-feature competitive intelligence that shows exactly how their product stacks up against the competition. You can find more info in the description.
Yeah.
So if your diesel truck breaks down today, you just buy a new one, fuel it up, and your business just keeps moving, right?
Right, yeah. It's a clean one-to-one swap.
Exactly. But the data we're looking at for this deep dive shows that commercial fleets who try to apply that exact same swap logic to zero-emission vehicles, they are just slamming face first into a brick wall.
Oh, absolutely. It is a massive operational wake-up call for the industry because we're moving out of that safe, heavily subsidized pilot phase.
Right.
And fleets are trying to actually scale these deployments up. And what they're finding is that the foundational math, the infrastructure assumptions, even the way we manage the human beings behind the wheel, it's all completely misaligned with reality.
And that is exactly our mission today. We want to cut through the noise and look at what operators and strategists are actually dealing with in the trenches across LinkedIn right now.
Yeah.
We're going to pull apart the raw economics of this shift, the harsh realities of energy procurement, the massive software and M&A arms race happening in the background.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Right. And ultimately, why local bureaucracy and just basic human psychology are making or breaking these deployments.
Yeah, and I think we really have to start with the baseline economics.
Definitely.
Because you simply cannot scale a commercial fleet if the math doesn't make sense. And everyone relies on these total cost of ownership models or TCO models to justify these massive purchases.
Right.
But right now, those models have some pretty dangerous blind spots.
Yeah, I was actually looking at a breakdown on this exact problem from Angelo E. And it is shocking how much the standard TCO models just casually ignore. Like they handle the basic upfront vehicle costs fine, but they miss the cascading effects.
Yeah.
Like take the U.S. federal excise tax.
Right.
That tax runs at 12% of the retail price on heavy trucks. So if you're buying a standard diesel truck, maybe you pay, I don't know, $22,000 in tax.
Right, which is already a lot.
It is. But an electric truck might retail for $400,000.
Wow.
Yeah, which pushes that exact same 12% tax closer to $50,000.
Wow. That's a huge jump.
It scales directly with the sticker price.
Yeah.
And fleets are just completely missing it in their planning.
And that's just the capital expenditure side.
Yeah.
The operational hit is even more severe when you look at the payload, because commercial trucks operate under really strict gross vehicle weight limits.
Right, you can't just load them up infinitely.
Exactly. So every single pound of battery that you built onto a chassis is a pound of paying freight that you legally have to leave on the loading dock.
Yeah, he pointed out that if you want a 250-mile range, you're giving up roughly 4,000 pounds of payload capacity.
That is a lot of freight.
It is. And if you push that to a 500-mile range, you're losing up to 7,700 pounds.
Wow.
I mean, in a weight-limited freight operation, that isn't just an inefficiency.
No, it's directly lost revenue on every single run.
Right. You either take the revenue hit or you have to buy and crew additional trucks just to move the exact same amount of goods.
Which completely throws off your return on investment. And that's before we even touch the biggest financial black box in the entire equation, which is residual value.
Oh, man, residual value.
Yeah, because when a fleet buys a diesel asset, they know exactly what they can sell it for 5 years later. But with heavy-duty electric trucks, there is practically no secondary market yet.
Right.
So the residual value they type into these financial models is essentially just a total guess.
And the criteria for that value is completely shifting too. Francis Hashem was tracking this in the electric van market, and he noted that resale value doesn't just depend on traditional metrics anymore.
Like age or mileage.
Exactly. It's tethered almost entirely to the verified health of the battery.
Ah.
Yeah. So if you have two visually identical vans, but one was constantly rapid charged to 100% in extreme heat, its battery is fundamentally degraded compared to one that was, just trickle charged overnight.
Right. And if the secondary buyer can't verify that battery's history, they basically have to assume the worst.
Exactly.
And then discount the price accordingly.
But I actually want to push back on the idea that battery data is going to be the silver bullet here.
Okay. How so?
Well, people assume that once we have perfect state of health tracking, the secondary market will just magically stabilize. But Jamie Sands brought up a brilliant counterpoint using the passenger EV market.
Oh, right.
We have had degradation curves and battery health data for passenger EVs for years now, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But used EV car values still plummeted around 60% over a recent 2-year period.
Oof. 60%.
Right, so it's a crucial reality check. Data alone does not dictate the market value.
No, because someone still has to put hard capital on the line to buy that used asset and absorb all that technology risk.
Exactly. All the battery data in the world just gives a buyer a highly detailed spreadsheet to justify the lowball offer they've already decided to make.
Right. So assuming data will magically save heavy-duty residual values in 5 years might just be walking right into the exact same trap.
Yeah. But, when you look at the global adoption curves, the economics actually are working in specific environments.
Where the operational savings overwhelm those risks.
Right. Gavin Mooney highlighted what is happening in China right now.
Yeah.
And the speed is just staggering. Electric truck sales have tripled, and battery electric now accounts for 1 in 5 new truck sales over there.
Wow, 1 in 5, that's huge.
Because the math became undeniable. The running costs for electric trucks there have dropped so significantly that the payback period...
The time to recoup the higher upfront costs.
Right. The payback period is down to just 1 year in some applications.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and once you hit a 1-year payback, it's no longer an environmental initiative. It's a competitive necessity.
Right. You literally can't afford not to do it. But then you contrast that with the UK. Chris Jackson pointed out that zero-emission trucks make up just 1% of new sales there.
1%?
Yeah, and that 1% is exactly where China stood just 5 years ago.
Wow. That really illustrates how steep that adoption curve gets once you hit that tipping point.
Yeah, and we are seeing isolated flashes of that tipping point in Europe and Asia, too. Steph Cornalis shared data showing Mercedes-Benz has taken a commanding 41% share of the European EV truck market.
41%?
Yeah, they're completely ramping up sales right ahead of upcoming compliance deadlines.
And in the last-mile delivery sector in India, Rajat Singhal noted that electric is just systematically dismantling diesel on cost.
How big is the gap?
It's massive. A small 4-wheel electric delivery vehicle runs at roughly 2.75 rupees per kilometer. The diesel equivalent runs closer to 4 rupees, and that can spike up to 10.5 rupees on congested low-speed routes.
That is a massive difference.
Yeah. When your electric competitor is paying a fraction of what you are to move the exact same package, that is your profit margin literally walking out the door.
Wow. So the vehicles are clearly proving themselves in the right applications. But this brings us to the operational reality that blindsides almost every fleet that tries to scale up.
The infrastructure.
Exactly. You secure the funding, you buy the perfect trucks, they get delivered, and then you hit an absolute wall because you can't actually power them.
Yeah, the infrastructure bottleneck is arguably the biggest crisis in the industry right now. There was this perfect, just infuriating example from JKC.
Oh, the German operator.
Yes. So this logistics operator in Germany ordered 15 heavy-duty electric trucks. The supply chain actually worked, so the trucks arrived in just 3 months.
Which is great.
Right. But when they went to the local utility to get the power required to run them,
which is a lot of power,
a 2-megawatt connection, they were quoted a 24-month wait and a bill for over €500,000.
Just for the grid upgrade.
Yes. So you have millions of dollars of rolling stock sitting idle in a dirt lot waiting on local utility timelines.
That's agonizing. And fleets cannot afford to wait 2 years for copper wire to be laid in the ground.
No. So the workaround they found was deploying mobile battery energy storage systems, or BES.
Okay.
It's essentially this giant battery pack you park at the depot. It slowly acts like a sponge, trickling power off the weak local grid during off-peak hours.
Oh, I see.
Then, when the trucks return, it blasts that stored energy into the vehicles at ultra-fast 2-megawatt speeds. So they completely bypass the local grid bottleneck.
That's a really clever engineering solution, but it really highlights a massive shift in the industry, doesn't it? Fleets are basically being forced to act like decentralized utility companies. They have to manage load balancing, storage, and distribution all on their own.
Which raises the question of whether fleet managers are even looking at the right metrics when they build these depots.
Right.
Tim Allen argued that the depot is fundamentally a complex energy asset now.
Right.
He pointed to Warrington's own buses, where they had 109 chargers, but they were strictly capped by their local grid limit.
So what do?
Instead of paying for a massive grid upgrade, they layered in intelligent energy orchestration software.
Okay.
Just by managing when and how power was distributed to specific buses based on their route requirements, they squeezed 22% more charging capacity out of the exact same physical infrastructure.
Wow. See, that is the difference between brute forcing a solution with capital and engineering a solution with software.
Yeah.
Andy Rees actually echoed this. He pointed out that minimizing your energy costs isn't just about, calling different suppliers to shop for a cheaper electricity tariff anymore.
Yeah.
It's entirely dependent on the intelligence of your power draw.
Yeah, and Natasha Fry made a really astute observation about the mindset shift required here. She said that fleet managers invariably start these infrastructure projects by asking, how fast is the charger?
Yeah, which seems like the logical first question.
Right, but in reality, they should be looking at their vehicle telematics first.
Because if the data shows your trucks are parked in the yard for 10 hours overnight, you do not need a bank of expensive, ultra-fast DC chargers.
Exactly. That is a waste of capital.
You lean into that natural dwell time. Deploying slower, cheaper AC chargers that are intelligently sequenced overnight is usually the smartest financial move.
Yeah, absolutely. Quick pause here, by the way. If you are finding this deep dive into fleet operations useful, make sure to hit subscribe on your app so you don't miss our future deep dives.
Definitely. And we should acknowledge that while grid constraints are dominating the conversation, alternative zero-emissions supply chains are maturing in the background, too.
Oh.
Erwin Penfornis highlighted a specialized hydrogen hub in Jeonju, Korea. They are reliably fueling nearly 100 heavy-duty transit buses every day.
Wow. Every day.
Every day. And they are doing it by using ultra-high-capacity 420 bar trailers. Essentially, they compress the hydrogen to extreme pressures so they can move massive, commercially viable volumes in a single delivery.
That's incredible. And if a fleet wants to bypass the charging infrastructure entirely on long routes, the hardware is evolving there too. Michael W. Nimch shared a recent test where a DAF electric tractor was paired with an e-trailer.
What's an e-trailer?
It's from Trailer Dynamics, and it actually has its own integrated battery and propulsion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that combination achieved an 800-kilometer run without a single charging stop.
That is wild. That fundamentally changes the calculus for long-haul viability.
It really does.
But whether a fleet is orchestrating 100 localized chargers or managing chemical battery health or tracking advanced e-trailers across the country, the common denominator is data.
Not always data.
Yeah, the sheer volume of telemetry required to run these new assets is triggering a massive consolidation in the software and AI space.
And this is where the industry's legacy processes are really getting exposed. Lan Hansen pointed out this incredible absurdity.
Oh, the pizza thing.
Yes. He pointed out that you can open your phone right now and track a $25 pizza from the oven all the way to your front door in real time.
Yeah, you literally watch the little car icon drive down your street.
Right. But if a fleet manager orders a $155,000 custom work truck, it's a complete black hole. You are relying on voicemails and spreadsheets to figure out if it's S at the factory, the upfitter, or in transit.
Which is crazy. That lack of visibility is a massive liability. He noted that companies offering real-time order tracking portals are now literally winning contracts with municipalities strictly because they eliminate that uncertainty.
Yeah.
It has become a core competitive advantage.
And once the vehicles actually hit the road, AI is increasingly being used to clear the operational fog. Ollie Furman showed a great case study involving Avis Budget Group.
Okay.
They operate one of the largest fleets in the U.S., but tracking vehicle availability across 125 disparate locations was a nightmare of fragmented legacy systems.
Oh, I can imagine.
So they deployed 2 custom AI agents designed to crawl and connect all that siloed data. Within 18 months, they achieved live, real-time visibility on 76% of their entire U.S. fleet.
That is huge, which means faster vehicle turnaround, better utilization, and obviously a massive jump in customer experience.
Exactly.
But it's important to remember that all this cloud architecture and AI modeling relies on a very fragile foundation.
The physical hardware bolted to the truck.
Exactly. Sergey Luchanka brought up a very practical reality check regarding video telematics. Fleets are investing heavily in advanced dash cams, but that hardware is completely useless if the camera simply fails to record an accident.
Oh man, yeah. You go to pull the video to exonerate your driver, and the file is corrupted or missing.
Exactly. He noted that telematics providers are finally introducing centralized camera health dashboards. It allows fleet managers to proactively monitor if cameras are functioning and communicating before a catastrophic event happens.
Which is critical,
Yeah.
Because that raw data, the verified speed, the video, the braking telemetry, it has become so inherently valuable.
Yeah.
And the companies that capture and control it are becoming prime acquisition targets. The M&A activity in this space is aggressively accelerating right now.
It really is. Andrew Jackson reported that the private equity firm Respita Capital just got a majority stake in the telematics provider Teletrack Navman. They value the company at $220 million.
Wow. And we are seeing strategic combinations aimed at locking fleets into single ecosystems too.
Right.
David Shuttleworth highlighted Vontier acquiring Ecos, which was a very calculated move to merge cloud-based fleet management directly with the physical fueling and charging hardware.
It makes total sense. But the most telling acquisition, I think, came from the insurance sector.
Oh yeah, this was interesting.
Yeah, Matteo Carbone pointed out that Federated Insurance outright acquired high-definition vehicle insurance, or HDVI. That signals a massive shift.
Because commercial auto insurance is notoriously difficult to keep profitable.
Exactly. By acquiring a telematics-based insurer, it proves that live vehicle data is no longer just a dashboard tool for a fleet manager. It is now a core underwriting asset.
Right.
Insurance companies want to price risk based on the real-time physics of the truck, not historical demographic models.
And that ties perfectly into the final and, frankly, most unpredictable variable in this entire ecosystem. You can deploy the most advanced AI routing. You can orchestrate your grid draw perfectly. You can lock in data-driven insurance premiums. But at the end of the day, a human being has to sit behind the wheel, and human policy governs the roads they drive on.
Ah, the human factor.
The human factor. Jasdeep Singh shared a story that I think perfectly encapsulates the limits of technology. So a fleet of over 200 vehicles was struggling with a severely high accident rate.
Okay.
They threw significant capital at the problem. They implemented strict monitoring protocols, rolled out financial incentive programs, installed expensive connected IoT hardware in the cabs.
Let me guess. It didn't work.
The results were completely negligible. It didn't change the behavior at all.
Wow. So what actually moved the needle?
A sticker.
A sticker.
A sticker. They put a simple physical sticker on the dashboard right in the driver's line of sight that read, "Drive safe. Your family is waiting back home."
Oh, wow.
And their accident rates dropped significantly.
That's amazing.
It is such a stark reminder that you can surround a driver with millions of dollars of advanced telemetry, but sometimes forcing a moment of personal reflection and connecting to their core psychology is far more effective.
That's a great example of the human element. But, there are physical human limits that a sticker simply cannot override. And that is where the industry is realizing they have to change how they apply data. Emily Menon brought up the issue of driver fatigue. A recent survey found that 68% of Australian fleet managers view fatigue as their absolute biggest daily operational challenge.
68%? That's massive.
It is. The problem she highlighted is that managers traditionally treat fatigue as a people problem. They try to manage it through conversations or tweaking schedules based on a gut feeling.
Yeah.
But the data shows it has to be treated as a strict data problem. You need active in-cab detection systems monitoring eye movement and head position to objectively intervene before a microsleep causes a catastrophe.
Right, but how you introduce that invasive data collection to the driver matters immensely.
Oh, absolutely.
Jeffrey Berry made the point that if management uses telematics purely as a surveillance tool to catch bad habits, they will instantly destroy driver trust.
Yeah, nobody wants a spy in the cab.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you implement gamified scorecards, it reframes the entire dynamic. It turns safety from a punitive measure into a tool for objective, positive reinforcement.
Right.
Drivers respect fair coaching, and that actually boosts retention in a very tight labor market.
So you have to manage the psychology of the driver. But the fleet managers themselves are operating under an increasingly hostile regulatory microscope.
Yeah, that's getting really tough.
Juro K had a very sobering warning about U.S. federal safety audits conducted by the FMCSA. He stressed that passing a regulatory audit isn't actually about having a zero accident record.
Really? What is it about?
It is entirely about having documented, airtight proof that your compliance processes exist. Do you have up-to-date driver qualification files? Do you have verified maintenance logs? Do you have a strict drug policy on file?
Ah, paperwork.
Exactly. Good intentions and safe driving records do not pass audits. Documented proof does.
And the regulatory pressure is only going to intensify because the stakes are just so high. Jack Burton pointed out a staggering metric from the UK. 1 in 3 road deaths currently involve someone driving for work.
1 in 3.
Yeah. That reality has prompted a major new national road safety strategy targeting a massive 65% reduction in deaths and serious injuries by 2035.
And we are seeing local governments design the physical environment to force compliance, too.
Yeah.
Keith Kerman reported that New York City just mandated audible pedestrian alerts on all non-emergency city trucks to actively warn people when a heavy vehicle is turning or backing up.
That makes sense.
And furthermore, they just hit a milestone of 1,000 fleet units equipped with intelligent speed assistance technology, or ISA.
Which is critical because ISA doesn't just record a driver speeding.
Right.
It actively intervenes and hard caps the vehicle's speed to match the local legal limit. The city is literally removing the driver's ability to make a dangerous choice.
Wow. But sometimes local policy isn't just regulating the fleet. It actively destroys the underlying business model.
Oh, like the car-sharing market.
Exactly. Mark Roberts broke down the details of Zipcar's massive exit from the UK, where they pulled over 90% of their shared vehicles out of London.
Right, and the immediate assumption from the outside is usually, well, the technology failed or the unit economics of car sharing just don't work.
Exactly. But the operational data proved that car sharing was highly effective. It was saving users thousands of pounds and pulling dozens of private vehicles off the congested streets for every shared car deployed.
So the tech worked flawlessly.
It worked great. What broke the system was municipal bureaucracy. London car sharing had to be negotiated individually across 33 different boroughs.
33?
33. And they were all operating with conflicting agendas. You had sustainability officers who wanted fewer cars on the road, clashing with parking enforcement teams whose primary goal was maximizing revenue.
What a mess.
Yeah, some boroughs were charging the fleet over £2,000 for a single car club parking bay.
£2,000 for one spot.
Yep. So an entirely functional, data-driven fleet operation was financially suffocated by fragmented, hyper-local policy meetings where no single entity was looking at the holistic transport needs of the city.
Man, which really brings us to the ultimate friction point for the entire industry.
It really does. Because building on the insights from this deep dive, you have to consider this. Given the blinding exponential speed of vehicle technology versus the agonizingly slow glacial pace of grid upgrades and fragmented municipal policy, are successful commercial fleets destined to evolve beyond just logistics? Are they going to be forced to become their own decentralized micro-utilities and aggressively embedded policy lobbyists just to keep their trucks legally powered and on the road?
That is a fascinating thought to leave on. If you enjoyed this episode, new episodes drop every 2 weeks. Also check out our other editions on charging and battery technology, autonomous and mobility markets, and software-defined and AI-defined vehicles.